I'm a little late on this, but this is every book I read in June, plus the books I'm hoping to read in July. For June, I ended up reading 6 physical books and then 3 e-arcs. Starting off, I have Crescent City House of Earth and Blood. This one is 5 stars, and it is my top book I have read so far this year. I was hesitant going into this one, but I loved everything about it. The world building, the character development, the plot with the twists and turns, I thought everything about this was perfection. Next, I have the Summer of Broken Rules. I gave this one 4 stars. I thought this was a really great book for the summer. The pacing was great. I loved the family aspect, how the family spends time together for the summer. I really loved the game of Assassin. This book made me want to play it, even though I would probably be stressed out the entire time and my anxiety probably couldn't handle it. But I really loved how much the family cared for each other. I also thought the romance in this was done really well, and it had me believing in soulmates. Daughter of No Worlds, I gave this one 4 stars. I do think this book was a little bit on the slower side. However, it had a really cool magic system that was super unique and powerful. It had me very intrigued in the story, and honestly, I had a lot of questions and I did not know who to trust. But the main characters in this are probably the absolute best part of this story. There's some really great character development, and it has a fantastic slow burn romance. I definitely think this is a strong start to the series. 6 Scorched Roses, I gave this one 4 stars. I was actually unsure about this one because The Serpent and the Wings of Night was not my favorite book. However, this one really surprised me. I saw where someone said it gave Beauty and the Beast vibes, and it absolutely does. For this being like such a small book, it's only about 150-160 pages, the pacing is fantastic and you get a complete story from start to finish. This book redeemed some of the series for me. Just for the summer, I gave this one 5 stars. This was my first book by her, and honestly, I can't believe I haven't read any of her other stories. I absolutely loved everything about this. This is a book that I would say is perfect. Justin and Emma's relationship is done so well, and this is another book that had me believing in soulmates. The last physical book I read was Binding 13. This one I'm not too sure about. I'm gonna give it sort of in between 4 and 5 stars. I enjoyed this book, but it's not one that I loved as much as everyone else seems to, and it's definitely not one that I would make my entire personality. However, I do think it's one that will stick with me. And then I read 3 e-arcs. So all of these were from the publishing companies that I got through NetGalley. Starting with Lessons in Faking, this is a college sports romance with fake dating your brother's rival. I absolutely love fake dating, and this book did not disappoint me in that area. I thought it was really unique in this case because Athalia and Dylan are also kind of rivals, due to Athalia's brother Henry really disliking Dylan. So you got a lot of like fun, playful banter. I gave this book 4 stars, and it is being released in the US on November 11th. Next I have It's Different This Time. I gave this one 5 stars. This is another one of my favorite books I have read this year. This book is being released on September 30th. If you're a fan of the 7-Year Slip, then you definitely have to check this one out. It has a dual timeline, so you get the really unique past and present coming together to the climax of the story. It's set in New York City in the fall. It's friends to lovers with a slow burn romance, and it has references to Broadway. I absolutely love this book, and I'm probably going to be talking about it until it's released. And the last book I have is Fake Skating. I gave this one 4 stars, and it is also being released on September 30th. This is a young adult hockey romance with fake dating. It also has childhood sweethearts to lovers. Honestly, all of Lynn Painter's books are fantastic, and I really did enjoy this one. However, this one isn't my favorite by her. I do think it is worth checking out though if you're a fan of Lynn Painter, and I will be buying it when it's released. I do have full reviews of all these books on my Goodreads, and I do have several on my Instagram and TikTok, which I can link in the description below if you would like to know more about what I thought about them. Moving on to July, I have several books planned that I want to read this month. However, I often end up changing what I'm reading, so who knows if I'll get to all of these or not. Also, already read some of them since we're now like a week and a half, 2 weeks into July. Starting off with Keeping 13, I did not have plans to read this one. However, when I finished Binding 13, I immediately had to start the next one. I had finished this one. Starting out, I enjoyed this one more than I did Binding 13. However, by the end, I don't know if I liked it as much. I think I'm giving this one 4 stars. Both of these books have some pretty intense topics. However, I do think they're important to read. It also has a really great romance aspect, and Johnny and Shannon's story is done so well. I also really loved the side characters and the friendships in this. My biggest issue with these is I think they are longer than they really need to be. I do think I will eventually continue the series, however I want to be taking a break for now, but I do want to read about the other characters. Next, I have Picking Daisies on Sunday. I have been dying to read this book for so long, and I'm so glad that I finally did. This is another one that I have finished already, and I gave it 4 stars. I loved it. This is one of those cute romances that are a comfort read. Like, even though it was pretty predictable, I didn't care, and I just was wanting the happily ever after so badly. I highly recommend this one if you have not read it. Next, I have What the River Knows. I'm actually currently reading this one, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I just got to part 2, which is about 150 pages in, and honestly, I have so many questions and I don't know who to trust. This is a really fun adventure historical fantasy, and I'm really excited to see how it ends. Next, I have Tales of Arcana Fortune. This one is one that I bought recently, and honestly, I'm just so interested in the description that I want to read it. It's about a young healer named Serena Rose who meets a mysterious stranger looking for the book called The Tales of Arcana Fortune. Serena ends up being cursed and has to spend 7 nights in 7 different fairy tales. This is another one that I didn't have plans to read, but honestly, I'm so curious that I think I'm going to have to. The Spanish Love Deception. This is one that was on my summer reading list, so I'm hoping I get to this one. But it's enemies to lovers with fake dating and a slow burn romance, so I'm really excited to read this one. And last, I have Quicksilver. This one is a possibility for me. I added it to my list because I have FOMO and everybody talks about how great this one is. My only problem is I don't know if I want to read a book this long right now, so I may or may not get to this one. That is all the books that I read in June and the books that I plan on reading in July. What were some of your favorite books from last month, or what are you looking forward to most to reading?